Hello everyone. Sovetski Soyuz, Ognevoi, Poltava, Swirepi, and Pamjat Merkuria are now in a game. Before we go for that, this is the second part of the, shall we say, a first episode of the Azur Lane Guessing New Shipgirls Research Department episode. And for this, I have to gladly say, I worked really hard to get some information for these our candidates in this episode, because I saw them in a personal point of view interesting to be added in the next 6 years. The game already is 6 years old already, so it's kind of interesting speculations. What shipgirls are we going to see in the next 6 years? I hope I can see and live that long. But if you want to see more of this episode, you are welcome to hit the subscribe button to see more of this series I'm now doing. Now, welcome to the Azur Lane Guessing New Shipgirls Research Department, episode 1. And as I said, new Northern Parliament ships and new meta ship has been added. And the event was a really fascinating one because it actually gave us more opportunities to expand imaginations about what shipgirls can be fixed and what shipgirls we can help to be healthy again. And in this video we are going to talk about those shipgirls that are in not good shape, but also this also gives a speculating and theories and fan-based wishes. Well, this is all my 100% self-chosen ships. I'm gonna rambling because I have no mind-hold script what to say at the start of the video, but now we have almost spoken with the 4 minutes of this start, so let's put aside of the nonsense rambling and go directly to the video. I'm now bringing a ships from all the way from the 15th centuries, 1500 centuries to the almost this day. There are some few factions and some amount of ships to be I chose personally. But after this video, if you have any ideas what ship you want to see in this game, hopefully next 6 years, then please add it to the comments and I will discuss this to the next video in a research department. So, our first candidate, our first faction is the new one. And sailing frigates is the thing. Tempesta is a new faction. Ships from golden age of piracy. Mary Celeste is the youngest one in other Tempesta members. Year 1872, when the oldest is Golden Hind. Year 5077 launched. So I went in blind idea of what ships could be interesting to see in game between time years 1500 and 80s. I hope that was right pronounced, but anyway. Now our first candidate So we start this list with the Swedish warship, launched in 1628, is Vasa. She was armed total 64 cannons, bronze cannons in the list. 24 pounders, 48 pieces. 3 pounders, 8 of them. And 1 pounders, there is 2. And some Stormsticken is howitzers, 6 pieces of them. As a warship in that time, she was the most armed warship in her time. However, her fate was not kind. King she was going to serve as a flagship was impatient to let drawbacks to be fixed, and subordinates had not enough courage to openly discuss ship's problems. When she finally was set sail, fully loaded, it took just one strong wind to make her list enough to port to seawater, reach open gunports, fill the lower deck to the point that led her to finally sinking totally. After the disaster and rescue operation, the investigation was held, and the only result and answer to who to blame what's sinking her was only God knows. She was raised off the seabed in 1961 and got her own museum in 1988. But I do want to point out her other sisters, built in the way that fixed the issues the lead ship Vasa had. Now, how she would behave in the game. Honestly, I don't want to speculate too much, but if we could make a little humor here. Once in the battle, the fleet she is in, after certain time pass, she capsizes her own, because becomes invisible, a ghost, and stays that a rest of the battle, but cannot be used again in next battle. This relates how well she preserved until she was found again in 1961. Our next ship for Tempesta is England ship AD-26 Hecla-class bomb ship HMS Erebus. Her history was good, although she was designed with 2 mortars and few cannons. After Navy service, she was then transformed to the expedition ship, outfitted with steam engines that gave 25 horsepower with speed of 4 knots, 7.4 kilometers per hour. I mean, bicycle can go faster. Her final fate, she got stuck in ice and was abandoned in 1848. In the 3rd Franklin expedition in Canada Arctic, her sister, Terror, also faced the same fate. Her enemy time armament loadout was 1 of 3 inches, 330mm mortar, mortar, 1 of 10 inches, 254mm mortar 2, 8 pieces of 24 pounders. Pound mass is something like 10.9 kilograms. Guns. 2 of 6 parts of pounders. 2.7 kilogram guns. How to say about that? Now, how she would behave in game? Well, I was thinking, and it struck me. Tempesta has only 1 backline ship for now, so with the armament she carried in the Navy days before becoming an expedition ship, she could work as a main fleet ship, with those murders and on board, long-range fire and so on. But the steam engine version, maybe in Vanguard then as a cargo ship, increases ammo capacity by 1 or 2, but that's just a theory. Now, our next faction is Eagle Union, and I found 2 good candidates to be added or upgraded, but that's personal opinion. Of course, United States Navy is vast, so it was not easy, but in the end I found some good ones. Our first candidate could be a long-lived veteran who still exists today and survived both world wars, and that is the old United States Navy's battleship dreadnought, Texas. She is old. She was launched in 1912 and was decommissioned in 1948. Time between those and above all that she is today a museum ship. She is part of New York class battleship, second ship of her class. Her main guns are 40 inches, 356mm, 45 caliber guns, 10 guns, 5 twin turrets, 3 different sizes of sanctuary battery guns, but big one is 127mm. Of course, 1916 she got the first AA gun among US Navy ships, and during World War II got more AA guns. I recommend searching US Navy battleship Texas history yourself, because the list is long. But how she would behave in game? To be fair, that is a good question. There could be many options about skills. First could be a AA buff. I had the theory of some kind of no-fly zone. Like her AA buff could be so strong that when you combine in PvP 3 good carriers, 2 out of 3 planes is shot down. And that idea is buffed by the old Texas from World of Warships, when Texas was really no-fly zone battleship, until the heavy nerf hit her, making her AA a little bit joke today version. But that's all I could think of. Yeah, PvP triple anti-carrier battleship, really nasty to send planes at. Next ship is a carrier, US carrier Lexington. Yes, and we have her already, but she suffered some kind of corruption and is stuck in sickbed, alive and stable at least. Recent event in South Pole Antarctic, Siren Observer made special crystal, if information is correct, shipgirl like Soyuz, with dangerous metamorphosis kind of transformation stage with her rigging, basically rebuilding the hull in dangerous level without losing yourself in the process. Saratoga collected big Eagle in your fleet to get those crystals. Of course, Pamiat Mercury and Meta had the idea to borrow Bunker Factory to make those crystals, and Observer as bait as well. And bait only Soyuz share with her only about Pamiat Meta ideas of peaceful world. That didn't work, lucky enough. So, the idea for the lore's sake Lexington to when? Well, to be honest, that depends on how the developers, writers, the story beforehand, or how far the story is now written today, in the state that it can now be transported to the game itself, and designing the character, so forth and so on. But saving Lexington is Commander and Saratoga side our main goal. Lexington 2? When, where, and how far in the story she is going to be released. And now we got the Iron Blood. And yes, it's my personal opinion who I picked. It was rather easy because I have spoken this heavy cruiser before. And that is Deutschland class heavy cruiser Admiral Scheer. If you don't know, I have already done a theory about what could be her skills when she is released. But just small briefing here. She is the second of her class and the last of her class to be added in the game. She was a successful raider capital ship, despite Deutschland, Lutzow, had very bad luck in her career, and Admiral Gaspé, successful in South Atlantic and almost finished off heavy cruiser Exeter, while damaging 2 light cruisers in the fight. Admiral Scheer did support Deutschland in her mission, sunk many cargo ships, 1 small escort ship, sailed with turrets and survived long enough to the 1945 until capsized in Kiel Harbor by massive air attack. How she would behave in game? First I can think of when she sails with other Deutschland class ships. She could give them firepower, reload AA buff, and perhaps some extra damage dealing against medium armor enemies? Exactly, that's all I could think of. Our next choice is the German 1935 cargo ship Altmark. Yes, she was one of the supply ships the current German Navy had, and Altmark is one of those who supported and supplied like Deutschland-class ships in the Atlantic. Admiral Scheer and Gaspé. She is also known as Altmark Incident. In Norway, where she was anchored with the prisoners Gaspé got from merchant ships from South Atlantic Ocean. But I am not sure was there also those that Scheer got, but do correct me that information in the comments. But how she would behave in game? Let's just say she could give reload, AA and firepower to Vanguard ships, but some extra ammunitions. But as the auxiliary ship, she is open for many types of improvement to the fleet she is in. But what if she also gives buff to other fleet, but specific faction only, or flexible one, and it gives buff for any faction fleet build? Plenty ideas, plenty dreams, but that is all up to game creators' hand. Don't worry, the list goes on. Our next subject is the Royal Navy, and very good reason. First, we shall take a look at the old glory, but also well-known battlecruiser in history, and that is HMS Hood. Yes, she was hit by Bismarck in secret weapon, the Black Cube. It had corrupted properties and can threaten Shipgirl's life. Luckily, Hood survives thanks to her friends and meta-renown and repulse information. But how long do we have to wait to see her in action again? Hood seems fine in spectator side view, but is there more problems what we don't know yet? Let's hope that she is in better state. But the idea of Hood too, how she would behave in game? I hate to admit it, but this despite of 6 years of playing Azur Lane, I have no idea how to make work in fleet compared to my 4.5 years experience with the Ironblood characters. First I can think of her support skills. Gives reload boost to all in the fleet, gives the support salvo to other fleet and reduces critical damage from the enemy hits. She is not going to be the only of her class. Next is the class where Hood is from. Admiral class. Yes. We could get more ships related to Hood, class that where she is based and planned from. Although Hood is real ship, the rest of her class was not built and they remained in the paper. So that could lead to a new paper ships, based from the real one. Sadly, this is all I can say because I know too little about the class itself. Next is a very annoying one. We have submarines. We have torpedoes for them. Even Royal Navy. Then where the heck are Royal Navy submarines? In the history, they designed some, built some, and used some, even Second World War. And where are they in the Azur Lane, since we have torpedoes for them? I do hope that in the nearby future we can see Royal Navy submarines in the action. How they would work in the game? Well, I could speculate that they can do some damage to other submarines. Because if I remember right, one British submarine hit the German U-boat, and Lutzow, the Deutschland-class cruiser, the Deutschland cruiser, got hit by British submarine, and the list goes on a little more. Yeah, there is potential. We just need some work with them. A long time support to the game itself, so we can see them in the future. Slow and steady, captains. And finally, our last nation, Sakura Empire. This was also easy pick personally. Our first is the very mysterious candidate Amagi. If my memory fails me a bit, do say that in the comments. Amagi is not dead. She is like in some kind of spiritual state in the way it's hard to explain. Like she is here, but not here, question mark? A spirit? I don't know. But the idea of Amagi rebuilding the hull. But the old concept might change, thanks to the events back in South Atlantic with the battleship Soyuz. Amagi can, in two choices, 1. Be a new battlecruiser, she was, or 2. Become a carrier, like in Second World War. Japan Navy gave Amagi name not just for battleship, but also for the carrier. But in different class. Amagi carrier. But the same Amagi fanbase knows her. With her new power and skills, she can support carriers. And how she would work? Simply strong Sakura Empire carrier buff skills. Sakura CV becomes stronger, aviation better, and other fleet gets the support planes as well. That is because let the game developers cook. their own recipe. And finally, Yamato class. Musashi is strong battleship. Shinano is here as well in carrier form. Now the Yamato. Ultra rare one, I can see it really well. If super rare, might not work well. However, Yamato class, all ultra rare, I can understand really well because they are unique, their own way, and heaviest battleships and carrier ever built. If any possibility, Yamato might give a good amount of support for Shinano and Musashi. Also, interactions between them might be adorable one. But how she would behave in game? Flagship roll, damage dealer buff, and also crit damage? Ideas are plenty, but I do hope that full Yamato class will be possible in the near future. And we can build some good metas around them. Maybe, maybe not. But I would appreciate it if the Musashi and Shinano can get some big supports for them, like Tirpitz gets from Bismarck in the same fleet, kinda idea. And that's everything for this time. I hope this raised some good ideas and hopes for the future Shipgirls in the next 6 years. And now we have come to the end of this video. While I was writing this in the past 5 days, maybe week, I was really scared that this might be almost a 1 hour long video. But because I have written all this down, it was easy to read. For me to memorize everything I had in mind when I was thinking about this ship and in this game. It's not easy, but I managed to do it anyway. But the Shipgirls we might see in the future, it's all up to the developers of the Azur Lane, the game creators themselves. But there is nothing wrong to speculate and have a theories about who we might see in the next 6 years. Because if you take a look back in 5 years, Azur Lane was young, and we had more or less ships in the game than we have now. Ironblood was stupidly small. Only Vanguard ships. Königsberg's sisters, Eugen, Z1 and Z23 only. And when the expanded the Ironblood began in a divergent chessboard, that was the beginning of the expansion of the fleet. Same goes now with the Dragon Empire, Chinese fleet. It is stupid. It is small. Only Binghai and Inghai. Did I pronounce them right? Only 2 of them. Oh, and maybe also the when was the and same goes with the Northern Parliament, the Aurora. She was the only one. But now we have more characters now. Every faction has more characters now. Perhaps in next video, if you want to share your ideas what ships you want to see in the next 6 years, leave the comments down below and I will discuss them in the next Research Department episode. Well, we have reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this first episode of the video. And there will be more, because I see this personally interesting, because I can delve deeper in the past history of ship designing and development and so much more. And some little bit fantasy about what kind of ship girl she is going to be. I hope you enjoyed this video and I see you in the next video. I am LuckyMiess205 and I wish you happy sailing and have a good day.